tanto jugando suelto como en competición. Tanto si se trata de un rápido 9 hoyos o de un gran 36. Tanto si juegas bajo presión o arrasando, siempre das lo mejor de ti. Nuevo Fuel de FootJoy.
Scottie Scheffler is joining us at the 104th PGA Championship. Scottie, you are on a pretty remarkable run. Can you give us a peek maybe behind the curtain and tell us what it has been like for you since winning the Masters?
Well, it's been pretty fun. Winning the Masters is a huge honor for me, and yeah, we've definitely been able to enjoy that a little bit. But after a little while, it's kind of back to business, and so I've been preparing and getting ready for this week.
Very good. About this week, you're playing in your third PGA Championship, and in your previous two, you've had 2 top 10 finishes. What is it about the PGA Championship that pleases you so much?
Yeah, I think I've just gotten comfortable with the golf courses. I was comfortable around Harding Park. I was comfortable around Kiawah last year, and I played some decent golf. And then this year, this is a place I'm comfortable around as well. And I think it's going to be a good challenge this week. I think we're going to have a windy first few days, and then it may calm down a bit Saturday and Sunday, but it'll definitely be a challenging first few days.
How familiar are you with Southern Hills Country Club?
I'm pretty familiar. I played 2 college events here and 1 amateur event. And then I came up a couple weeks ago and played a practice round, but outside of that, I didn't feel like Gil made any massive changes to the course, and so it still played fairly similar to how I remembered it, other than, a lot of the runoffs are a bit different, but outside of that, it still feels pretty much the same.
Very good. Thanks for being here. Questions over on mic 3, please.
Scottie, what was it that led you to make the statement that might be your favorite course, and did anything change? I know you said you didn't think Gil did too much, but were there many changes that would alter your opinion to think it's better or maybe not as good?
I couldn't tell you when I made that statement or where y'all found that or something.
It was a Big 8 event.
I usually try and Big 12. I usually try and pick a golf course that's off the radar for something like that, just because I don't know. Everyone has their favorites, and Southern Hills is definitely one of mine. And I haven't heard any bad things about the golf course this week, and it's one of those places I feel like if you come and play it the first time, you kind of know where to hit the ball, and it's just really hard. It's right in front of you. You kind of know what to do. It's just hard to actually do it.
Front row on mic mic 5, please. 5.
Scottie, after you won the Masters, I interviewed your former roommates, Max McGreevy and Drew Eisen, and they said that might not have actually been the best golf you've ever played, that it might have been during COVID when you shot 2 59s in a few weeks. How does your game compare right now to during COVID?
Well, it's a shame we weren't playing any tournaments during that stretch, I guess, at home. I was beating up on those guys pretty good at home, though, which was fun. But, yeah, my game feels like it's in a good spot. I've obviously, I've been on a pretty good run here recently, and, I'm definitely not trying to stop it, so hopefully going to keep it rolling this week.
Front row on 1.
Scottie, your short game was impeccable at Augusta National. I'm wondering, will it take an equal effort to win here this week, or is something else perhaps more important in the skill sets?
So I think in order to win major championships and beat these amazing fields, you got to really have faith in all aspects of your game. You can't really be protecting against anything because you got to put it all on display out here. And to get around this golf course, it's not going to be just pure ball striking or anything like that. It's going to take a variety of different things in order to play well out here. And so for me, I've just been preparing like usual, and my game feels like it's in a good spot, and I'm just looking forward to this week.
Mic 4.
Scottie, Brooks was in earlier saying that when you're the world #1 and a major champion, you walk with a bit of a strut and your chest puffed out. You're the world #1 and the Masters champion as well. Did you feel any different when you arrived on the range this week?
No, Tiger's here, so nobody really remembers that I'm here, so it's all good. No, I don't. Like I said, I don't feel any different. I don't get any extra shots this week. It's nice to have the ranking, but at the end of the day, when I show up at a tournament, I don't have any advantages over the field other than we all start even par. So for me, it's a tremendous honor, but at the end of the day, when I show up to a tournament, I'm starting it even.
How does it affect your confidence, though? Not just the accomplishments I've listed, but everything you've done this year.
So I've never really been a guy that looks at too much stuff about myself. I don't want to get too high or get too low, and so I've really just performed my best when I keep my head down and not really pay attention to anything else. And so all I've been doing is, we celebrated for a bit after the Masters, but not too long. And I was preparing for last week. I didn't have my best stuff. I made a few errors, but I still gave myself a decent chance to win the tournament. I wasn't there on the back nine, but if I would have made a few less mistakes at the beginning of the week, I could have been there. And this week, I feel like I'm in a good spot mentally, and I'm well rested, and it's going to be a long week, so I think rest was definitely important.
Microphone 9, please.
Scottie, I think there's 98 days between the Sunday at Phoenix and Sunday this week here, in which time you could have won 5 times, 2 of them majors. Can you possibly put into words just how insane this stretch of golf has been and possibly could be?
Yeah, I don't really look too far into the future, so I hadn't really thought much about this week until I showed up here, and we did come play a practice round, but outside of that, I was still preparing for last week, and I don't know, that's the kind of stuff for y'all to write about. I don't really, like I said, I don't get too high or too low, and so if y'all want to write up stuff and come up with stories, that's fantastic. But for me, I'm going to try not to read them, whether they're good or bad. Living in the moment is usually what works best for me, and like I said, I don't want to get too high or get too low. So if you guys, are really building me up, then I may I may not prepare as hard because I show up just being like, oh, I'm the guy, I'm the man, and no one can touch me. That doesn't work for me. And if I show up too low, and you guys are saying, oh, Scottie doesn't have it, he's not any good anymore, then I'm going to show up, and maybe I'm going to prepare too hard. I'm not going to get enough rest. And so for me, just kind of staying in my own lane and doing my thing is what works best.
Microphone 5.
Scottie, there's a bunch of guys who've come in here and said that they have 0 experience at this course this week. With you having tournament experience here, has there been anybody who's maybe come up to you and been asking for maybe some advice on how to get through here?
So I think if they hadn't redone the golf course, I think there would have been more guys coming up to me. But, like I said, a lot of the runoffs around the greens play significantly different. And, like I said earlier, this is a golf course I feel like you can show up for the first time and know kind of exactly where to hit the ball. There's not really many tricks to it. You just got to show up and hit good golf shots and stay in position, because once you get out of position, this golf course will punish you in a hurry.
Yeah, Scottie, wondered if you'd played any practice rounds with Jordan, any this week or have any coming up. And also, both you and Jordan are playing really well at the same time. And you've known him your whole life. Have you thought about how fun that would be if you got to come down Sunday, you and Jordan are battling for the PGA Championship like you have so many times back at home?
Yeah, I mean, I think being in contention is always really fun. It doesn't really matter who's on the other side of the tee box or whatever. I don't know how you say that, but being in contention is fun, and I think that's what we all look forward to, and I know Jordan looks forward to that. And so, last week with him coming down the stretch, I'm sure he had a good time, and with it being a major championship, I think that makes it even more special. And so, for the both of us, I think that's what we're kind of looking forward to, is hopefully putting ourselves in a position to where we can win this golf tournament.
Microphone 8.
Scottie, I wanted to ask you, you've played this course a handful of times. Are there any specific holes that really stand out, or something, a hole maybe you look forward to playing?
I feel like this is one of those places where you kind of get on the tee box and you look at the hole, you're like, man, this is a really cool hole. And then you get to number 2 and it's like, man, this is a really cool hole. And then it just kind of keeps going. I wouldn't say there's one hole that stands out too much than any other. It's just, it's a really solid golf course. And what I found interesting with playing the Big 12 championships here, there was always one day, it seemed like, where somebody kind of blitzed the golf course and shot 5, 6, 7 under. But I think I won the golf tournament like 3 or 4 under. It's a really hard golf course, but when you're playing great golf, you can kind of make your way around it just because it's so simple. And I don't know, it's just kind of a funny place when it comes to stuff like that. I'm not sure what Tiger won out here in 07, but it was also one of those deals where he had a crazy round. He almost shot 62, and it's one of those places where if you can put your A game together for a round, you can really make it special. And I don't think you're ever really going to find yourself too far out of the tournament.
Microphone 11.
Yeah, Scottie, I've heard Justin Thomas talk about how when he goes to a major and he's got a lot of confidence in his short game, that he's able to play on his approach shots differently, because he can say, I can get up and down from anywhere. I can take on this pin. Do you find yourself saying that right now because your short game has been so good over the last year?
Yeah, I think, something I always kind of go back to, I think Jordan said in an interview after one of his first few majors, was you have to have trust in all facets of your game in order to win these tournaments. And, kind of like I touched on it a little bit earlier, but having trust to say, hey, I can attack this pin because I know this spot off the green is somewhere where I can get the ball up and down. It may not be somewhere where everybody can get up and down from, but I know that I can. And it may be sort of an eye test thing. I may see shots a little bit differently than other people do. There could be some really easy ones where I'm like, no, that doesn't really suit my eye. And so I think a lot of it is just kind of managing your way around the golf course. And with the conditions looking, if the wind stays up like it is right now, it's not going to be any crazy low scoring. So it's going to be a lot of kind of managing your way and making a lot of pars.
Front row on one.
Tell me if there is any difference whatsoever between the guy who had 0 wins and the guy who had 4 wins, whether it's demeanor, confidence, your mindset, walking down the street and somebody sees you that maybe didn't recognize you before and now does. Is there anything different about you than before?
I would say when I show up to tournaments, it's a little bit different. There's, more people kind of hollering at me when I'm playing a practice round, wanting to get signatures or whatever it is. And, at home, I've been recognized a few more times than I did in the past. But, I kind of stay in my own little bubble. And for me, not much has changed when I'm at home. Not much has changed the way I practice. When I show up to tournaments, I don't feel any different. I will say, after my first win in Phoenix, when I was in contention in Bay Hill, I definitely I took some confidence from Phoenix. I think I made 4 bogeys the first 11 holes and still won the tournament. And I think in the past, I believed I had to play perfect golf on Sunday in order to win. And so for me to know that I can make mistakes and bounce back from them and still be able to win tournaments is really important. And I would say that's probably really the only biggest change was that Sunday at Bay Hill. And, like I said, I'd made some mistakes then too, and I was able to kind of pull out the tournament. And so golf's really chancy. It's not consistent like other sports. We play outside. There's bad waves, bad bounces, all kinds of stuff that can happen. And so for me, just trying to keep my head down and play good golf.
A couple of questions on 12.
Scottie, a little bit of a follow-up to that. Some of the comments you made about Sunday morning of the Masters seems like there was this really emotional period for you, even if it was short, where I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it seemed like you felt the weight of the pressure on you and were in a state of doubt. And to come through that and to have won the Masters, that has to be transformative in some way, right? I mean, do you feel like, how does it feel to have felt so bad and then prove you can win anyway?
So I wouldn't say I felt bad. There's a lot that goes on with that golf tournament. And for me, I always struggle kind of letting people in. And so in that moment, I was just honest with my wife. I was like, man, I'm really scared. Like, this is a big day for me. What better opportunity to win my first major than the Masters? I mean, it's a tournament everybody wants to win the most, and I have a 3-shot lead, and, there's really only a handful of guys that had a chance. And so for me, what better opportunity there is than now? And, I kind of felt the weight of that because I've wanted that for so long. And so I just told my wife, I was like, man, this is hard. It's not easy to win golf tournaments. It's not easy to win the Masters. And, I don't believe that it's easy for anybody. I think, what Tiger's dad told him before he won in '97, he's like, it's going to be the hardest round of golf of your life, but it's also going to be the most rewarding for him. And so I don't think it's easy for anybody to win golf tournaments. And so for me to, just be honest with myself and approach it the way I did, I think was really helpful.
Scottie, where is the green jacket this week?
I think it's in my closet at home.
Okay.
Hopefully safe.
Have you done anything yet for Randy Smith, Blake, Rocky, those guys that have been with you for so long to commemorate what you've achieved?
Not yet. We're still kind of in the midst of the season, and especially Randy. Randy's not really one. We celebrated a lot that night, but after that, it's back to work. We're not going to look too far into the past. We're still in the middle of the season, and celebrating and doing all kinds of crazy stuff while I'm trying to play golf is not going to help me play well. And so for us, we're just kind of trying to stay in the moment and keep preparing.
What's the one thing you most remember that he said to you after the victory when you celebrated?
He couldn't really speak right after, so he didn't really have much to say. He was kind of just sitting there crying, and so that was a really special moment. It was kind of a whole line of my family, and then Randy and Blake, and we even got Blake in tears, which was pretty special. But it was one of those real moments that I'll probably remember for the rest of my life. It was so special having everybody there, and it's been a really kind of cool stretch for us, and so we've definitely enjoyed it, but the work we put in is what got us to this point, and so for us, not much is going to change on that front.
Front row on 2.
Scottie, how long was it after you won the Masters before somebody said the words Grand Slam, and you remember who said it?
To me?
Yeah.
right now.
Nobody until now?
Yeah. Like I said, I kind of keep my head down and do my thing. So I don't.
I mean, there's only one guy who can do it this year.
Yeah,
so.
I guess, and I'm a fourth of the way there. So I'm
So
not
it's
gonna...
really at the forefront of your mind, is what you're saying.
yeah, it's all I've been thinking about for the last few months. But no, to be honest with you, I haven't thought about that, or looking at the British Open or the next tournament's not going to help me play good here. So, yeah.
Questions?
That's good.
Last question on mic 6, please.
Scottie, this is obviously your first major since winning a major. I know you've talked about how you don't feel any different coming to tournaments, but having the evidence that you can win at this level, is that any added confidence or comfort going into another major?
We'll see how it feels during the round. Right now, I don't feel any tournament. I want to win this tournament as bad as I did any other one. And so for me, not much changes, whether it's PGA Championship, Masters, British Open, whatever it is. I'm an extremely competitive person. And so, I want to win. For me, winning is fun. And, it took me a while to win the first one. And I guess I've been on a stretch now. But outside of that, being in contention and winning golf tournaments is the most fun. Finishing 50th place is not as fun. The higher up you can finish and the more nerves you feel, that's kind of the more fun stuff for me.
Enjoy the week, Scottie.
All right,
thanks for being here.
See y'all.
El nuevo Pro SL no tiene clavos, pero tiene un agarre increíble. Con una plancha de carbono adicional para optimizar el retorno de energía y un nuevo y moderno diseño, el zapato original de máximo rendimiento sin clavos tiene algunas ventajas importantes.